Welcome back to your 30 days of dragon paths here for the month of September. Today we will be covering DragonFae Witchcraft, and just a quick disclaimer here, the way that I understand DragonFae Witchcraft is likely completely different than how you might understand it if you practice this craft, and that's totally valid and understandable. Today I'm just here to share with you guys my system as I founded it with my dragon guardians, here to give it to you for free so you can enjoy it. Have a place to start, pick it apart, put it back together, innovate upon it, or completely disregard it entirely. It's just a resource for you to have a starting point if you want to work with DragonFae Witchcraft. And we have 5 parts to this video. We have the guide, we have the notes, we have the basics, we have how it works for all faiths, and we have my tips and tricks. And you will have extra free resources for this topic today over on all of my platforms: Patreon, Discord, Tumblr, Amino, you name it. Okay, there's gonna be free goodies for you, and the master post will be linked in the Discord, the Hatchling Clan, first link in the description down below. So you don't want to miss joining the Hatchling Clan to get your free resources there exclusively as well. But with that being said, let's just jump right on into this video. So here's my DragonFae Witchcraft guide for part 1. This is a type of witchcraft that focuses on the various kinds of mythical creatures, especially the ones that are hybrids. Inspired by The Oracle of the DragonFae by Lucy Cavendish, this branch of the Draconic path is one entirely experimentational, based off of cross-referencing mythology from various creatures around the world. And all that means is DragonFae was actually, do I have the deck right by me? I think I do. If I do, sorry, I have big horns on my head. But basically, this is the deck that inspired it, right? Is this one, The Oracle of the DragonFae by Lucy Cavendish. This is what the back of the box looks like. Favorite deck in the world still, ever since it came out. And there is like these themes of like merging mythical creatures in there and just like using like the DragonFae as a term as like a way to define a certain type of energy and like a certain type of like mythical creature that isn't necessarily fairy, isn't necessarily dragon, isn't necessarily mermaid, but somewhere in between, right? So that is essentially how this started, meaning that it's like there's no real historical precedent other than when we look into myths and see like the mythology of like dragons and mermaids and fairies, and then we kind of cross-reference them all together and then kind of build our own like unverified personal gnosis that way, which is why this practice of DragonFae Witchcraft is so completely unique to everybody, more so in a way than like other dragon paths are. But next we have, while DragonFae have no mythological precedent by that name, we can find various beings from myth that are not easily classified as one mythological creature or the other. The best example I can give you for this is Melusine, which is a French goddess. Sometimes she's considered like a Celtic goddess. However, she is like personified as like having a snake tail and like wings, or having like 2 mermaid tails, sometimes a mermaid tail and wings. So it's like, but like dragon wings, right? So she really gives like serpent, dragon, mermaid hybrid, which is why we can, and her like mother is a fairy and her father's like a man. So she's really giving DragonFae, which is why we mostly consider her the matron of DragonFae, which I might be getting ahead of myself. But anyway, I digress. Next we have, due to the lack of historical precedent for the DragonFae, this practice is nearly entirely unverified personal gnosis, or based on truths gained through personal experience, perception, understanding, and practice. All that means is that it's really going to be different for everybody else. There's no way of like finding DragonFae in history, therefore it's like completely unique to you. The best recommendation I have though is to like apply myths, like apply like guidelines and like customs from myths about dragons, fairies, mermaids, whatever you find throughout like history, even like unicorns, phoenixes, and stuff like that, and apply them to the DragonFae. So like you have some sort of a foundation to build your unified personal gnosis off of, instead of just like winging it, right? So we don't want to just wing it, because that's how we end up inducing like LARPing or like live action role playing with our practice. So stay in those myths, okay? Stay anchored in those myths, please. Okay. Next we have, for the most part, DragonFae Witches will research mythical creatures throughout history and piece them together to form a unique understanding of the DragonFae, like I just said, basically. So that's the general consensus of what DragonFae witchcraft is. But next we have the beliefs, and typically believes in the DragonFae as real, and believes in all mythical creatures, as well as believes in magic as real and as a tool to utilize. And that's pretty straightforward. Like, DragonFae witches are going to believe in witchcraft and they're going to believe in mythical creatures and DragonFae. Next, we have practice typically to perform rituals and spells with the DragonFae and other mythical creatures. Very straightforward. This is heavily like a mythological creature focused like type of witchcraft. And then next we have purpose, typically to connect with and learn more about the DragonFae and their magic and their realms. So everyone's gonna have a different purpose for connecting with the DragonFae. Me personally, I work with the DragonFae to heal some really dark traumatic memories that I have that I don't like talking about. And it's just different for everyone. Some people work with DragonFae to be more self-expressive, to, you know, be more confident. Some people work with the DragonFae to push themselves as a discipline, right? So it just depends. And then next we have how to start. Begin studying mythical creatures and then create a space you are able to connect with them, or go out in nature, okay? Go out in nature and start spinning. That is, like, I know, random. I really mean it, okay? Start spinning for some reason. It works with the DragonFae. Anyway, that's it for part 1 of this video. Next, we're going to be moving into part 2 of this video. So that is going to be my DragonFae witchcraft notes. And all this is what makes my system of DragonFae witchcraft unique to my personal practice and understanding. So number 1, we have focuses on working with all mythical beings and creatures, not just the DragonFae alone. And there's many people who I know who work with like DragonFae who don't really like work with unicorns, who don't really work with like phoenixes, who don't really work with like griffins. They just work with DragonFae and like maybe dragons and fairies, but like that's it. Okay, and so the way that my practice with the DragonFae differs is that all of the mythical creatures are critically important to this practice of mine in my system, right? So next we have, unlike any other DragonFae system I've seen, the way I understand DragonFae includes spiderwebs too. So I've really never seen anyone talk about this, but the DragonFae have a huge connection to spiders, and that is all I can share in this video. I am getting a huge shut the fuck up from my team, so I'm gonna keep going. Next we work with the DragonFae as beings of alchemy embodied. And what do I mean by that? The DragonFae have a hybrid nature, making them like alchemical expressions, right? Of like different creatures, like hybrids of these different creatures, right? So you take different mythical creatures and you transmute them together, and that makes DragonFae the like embodiment of alchemical expressions, at least in the way that I understand DragonFae in my practice. And then we have, before I come to a conclusion about what the DragonFae are, I do my research into all myths, religions, legends, and lore, and history, and draw a personal conclusion by cross-referencing my research. And I find so many people don't do this. It really scares me. People will just start, you know, putting iron in things that they sell for DragonFae, or they'll start, you know, just doing things that are like mythologically disrespectful for like certain types of like mythical creatures, like the Fae, that would be considered like applicable to the DragonFae, in the sense of like, I teach this way because it keeps people grounded in history and mythology, and it's like a more scholarly approach rather than a more unverified personal gnosis approach. I have no issue with unverified personal gnosis. I just have an issue when it becomes like detached from reality or history or mythology. That's it. That's all I gotta say about that part. And then next we have, in my practice, the goddess Melusina is the matron of my DragonFae witchcraft and is the one I work with for guidance along the DragonFae path. And that's pretty straightforward. We mentioned her a little bit earlier in this video about her being a particular type of goddess, and she is the matron of my DragonFae witchcraft and just my DragonFae practice in general. And that has been one of the most absolutely profound journeys of my life. I will absolutely have to make more videos about Melusine because she's like such not a popular like deity, but spoiler alert, she's the logo for Starbucks, okay? Boycott Starbucks. Boycott Starbucks. Shout out to Melusine. Anyway, next we have a daily practice with water and candlelight in like regard to connect to the DragonFae is like critical in my craft. So the way that I really truly work with the DragonFae is very, very connected to being in the dark in like water, like warm water with candlelight. That is amazing for my nervous system, by the way. And it's a great practice to adopt if you're interested in connecting with DragonFae. And then next we have, where am I? There is a heavy focus on laser light and electricity within my DragonFae practice. And that has largely to do with the fact that I was raised in LASERIUM. Shout out to my dad, DragonFaether. If you don't know what LASERIUM is, it's basically where like laser technology comes from. It was like developed in the 60s and like blew up and was like the cosmic laser concert. The lasers were the show and there was nothing else except music. And my dad was a laser artist. And so growing up, I was just wandering the halls of LASERIUM and learning about witchcraft in Hollywood by witches who would come there. That was my childhood. And the laser magic is like, my time there is where I learned laser magic. And my dad taught me a lot about lasers and laser technology and electricity. And that's why it's a huge part of my personal practice and any sort of DragonFae craft. And then next we have, there is large emphasis on psychic abilities, okay? And this means like, think of your clairsenses, right? Like clairaudience, clairsentience, things like that. Like extrasensory perceptions, prophetic dreams, things like that, right? Some people are able to like freakishly read minds through just perceiving like micro expressions and like behavior and stuff like that. So these things, if you ask me, like I would consider like psychic abilities. And this is like one of the main things I work with Melusina with for my like DragonFae practice, is just like developing confidence in those psychic abilities. And then lastly, we have DragonFae Witchcraft is a rainbow spectrum. And all that means is that like the way that I understand DragonFae Witchcraft is that it is a rainbow practice. It is a rainbow practice, like kind of more so than my Draconianism, in the sense that like my Draconianism system, if you haven't seen it yet, I posted it like last week, I think. It's Draconianism 101, the complete beginner's guide. It'll be in the cards, by the way. And that is like rainbows in the dark, right? But like DragonFae Witchcraft, the way I understand it, is just like rainbows in the light, okay? I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay, moving forward. We have part 3. We have now the DragonFae basics, okay, my darlings? And this is basically just how to get started on DragonFae Witchcraft after this video if you desire to. Okay, so step 1, the most important step within DragonFae Witchcraft is to never stop studying creatures within mythology, as understanding their myths is how we cultivate a more grounded, informed personal gnosis. Okay, so again, this is probably the most biggest thing I'm hammering on people in this video, is like when you're working with DragonFae, if you are not studying your mythology, oopsie. Number 2 is, while in your studies, you may attract a DragonFae guardian. However, if one hasn't encountered a DragonFae, then now is the time to cultivate a space and a routine to help one connect with the DragonFae. So if during your studies you don't naturally connect with one, because that is pretty common, and if it doesn't happen for you, don't be like ashamed or like sad or anything. Like, it's just, now's the time to connect with one, right? So after you do your studies and you get like a pretty good understanding or a pretty general knowledge, that's when you can start trying to reach out and connect with the DragonFae. Or however it plays out for you, because hey, we're not here to follow rules, all right? We're just not. And then next we have number 3, when you establish a connection to a DragonFae guardian, this is the time to inquire them for if they have a particular craft to share with you or provide you with guidelines along the path. And this is the same with like working with dragons, like in general, right? But when you work with DragonFae, after you connect with them and you have like a connection established with your DragonFae guardian, just like touch base with them and see if they have any guidance for you, anything they want to teach you. It's really just don't miss that step, okay? Because sometimes like some like guardians that we work with, they won't give you things unless you ask. So that I just have to remind you, okay? Like, ask things, okay? Ask things, all right? That's like how my whole spirit team works, by the way. Like, I can't share a lot on this channel. I know you think I'm sharing a lot. I'm really not. But if I did, it would be a wild place to be on this channel. However, my point is like when people, like when hatchlings come to me and like have questions in my like DMs and stuff, which you're more than welcome to DM me. I will get back to you on Discord. That's usually where I hang out. But I digress. Basically what I'm trying to say is that like, if you guys ask me the right questions, I'll tell you the right answers, right? But like, I'm not gonna like willingly volunteer that information. And a lot of like spiritual entities work that way. Just a tip, I don't know. Next we have 4, by now you should have cultivated an intimate bond with the DragonFae, that they have shared a spell, ritual, or 2 with you, and it's experimentation. So basically, once you start getting that bond with your DragonFae, they will very likely show you some type of magic, some sort of spell that you can try, or whatever it is they give you. Sometimes it's like a craft or a ritual. It just really depends, right? So that's what I'm saying, is like, it just like takes time to like establish these connections and these bonds. So like, don't feel weird if it's not like, do you know what I mean? Like, take your time with this. Like, that's like the most rewarding feeling, is when you really take your time with bonding with like these beings. And then number 5, if your DragonFae guardian hasn't already shown you more mythical creatures, now is usually when. So once you have like that bond with your DragonFae, you've worked with things, you've experimented with them, you've done your studies, you're still doing your studies, sometimes your DragonFae guardian will bring you mythical creatures to work with, to understand, and just very similar to how like dragon guardians will bring you more dragons. At least this is how it works in my personal practice and understanding of the DragonFae, right? So next we have number 6. The DragonFae are deeply sensitive to emotions, and now is when we transmute our emotions. So be mindful of your emotions when you're working with DragonFae. The way that I could best describe the way that they respond is, I'm going to point to Legend of Korra. I know this is cheesy. I'm going to point to Legend of Korra season 2, when the like spirits of the like water tribe were like going from like happy spirits to angry spirits based on like her emotions, especially when Korra was in the spirit world and she was sitting with Iroh at the table, right? With like all the other spirits, and she started getting emotional, how it like disturbed the other spirits, and they started getting angry and violent when she was upset and having a temper tantrum. That is exactly how it works with DragonFae, okay? Please be so mindful of your emotions. Holy crap. Like, I literally, if I get angry, my DragonFae guardian scares me. That is all I'm gonna say. All right, next we have 7. This point only the DragonFae could truly say. At this point only the DragonFae. Yeah, that basically means like after you do all of those different types of practices with them, they bring you the mythical creatures, you literally like work with, you know, transmuting your emotions and disciplining your emotions. At that point, the DragonFae are gonna lead the way, okay? I have no idea what comes after that. And that's it for part 3. And next we're gonna be moving into part 4, which is going to be DragonFae Witchcraft for all. And all that means is the following are examples of how DragonFae Witchcraft might look like for all belief systems, okay? So if you are an atheist, DragonFae Witchcraft might look like this for you. For those who don't believe in a higher power, then DragonFae Witchcraft might look like working with DragonFae as symbols of creation or signs to reflect upon for deeper wisdom. And basically it's just about reflecting and observing these symbols and trying to really contemplate what their meanings are and piece together really unique truths hidden in plain sight. And that's what it might look like for you. So if you're a polytheist, DragonFae Witchcraft might look like this for you. So for those who believe in more than one divine creative force, the DragonFae Witchcraft might look like worshiping many DragonFae as the gods, or simply one to work with, right? They might work with multiple types of DragonFae to earn lessons from them, believing in them as like spiritual, divinely powerful entities, excuse me. And that is just a general consensus for what DragonFae Witchcraft might look like if you're polytheistic. Next, if you're a monotheist, DragonFae Witchcraft might look like this for you. So for those who believe in one divine creative source, okay, the DragonFae Witchcraft might look like worshiping God with the DragonFae by dancing with DragonFae to honor God, or the DragonFae are signs of God in some form and provoke self-reflection. And personally, I like dancing with DragonFae to honor a lost band with the Allah, especially on my period, because when I am bleeding, I'm not allowed to pray, first of all. I'm Muslim, by the way. I'm not allowed to pray, by the way. So I dance with DragonFae to help with my cramps, help move my body, because, you know, the cramps, they need the movement, all right? I hate that for me. I hate that for you too, but it's the truth, all right? And that's a ramble, but that's what DragonFae Witchcraft might look like if you're monotheistic. Next, we have Omnist. So this is what DragonFae Witchcraft might look like for you. For those who believe in all religions having truth, DragonFae Witchcraft may look like a practice of connecting with all DragonFae-like beings and magic to grow along your journey. Very straightforward, right? Like, it just really depends. Each Omnist kind of just views things differently and perceives truth in different religion differently, so it just is going to be very unique to how they see the world. And lastly, we have Animist. This is what DragonFae Witchcraft might look like for you. For those who believe in all of creation having consciousness or a spirit, then DragonFae Witchcraft may look like connecting to that innate spiritual energy in all things as DragonFae, in all forms of creation, even mammals or inanimate objects, right? And that's pretty much it for part 4. And you know, if you're not really sure which category you fall under, like, make sure you don't rush it, okay? Like, take your time in understanding what you believe and don't pressure yourself. Like, you are always allowed to think and ask questions, okay? Like, if something doesn't feel right for you anymore, it's okay to grow out of it, right? Like, polytheism didn't feel right for me anymore. I grew out of it, but that doesn't mean that you have to grow out of it. That doesn't mean you have to follow me. Like, that just means that's what worked for me, right? So just a reminder to take your time with it and make sure it feels empowering to you. You shouldn't feel like anxious about your religion or your spiritual practice, but I digress. Lastly, we have my last part 5 here for my DragonFae Witchcraft tips. And basically, this is just my best tips, tricks, and reminders for DragonFae Witchcraft, how to stay on the path and how to get on if you fall off, like how to get back on if you fall off. So we have, if unsure where to begin with DragonFae Witchcraft, start by studying Melusine, the two-tailed mermaid, who is often depicted with a serpent tail and wings, sometimes 2 tails, and no wings, showcasing the hybrid nature of DragonFae we study in history. So the reason why Melusine is so considered DragonFae as like the matron of DragonFae is just because the way her mythology really kind of ticks all the boxes of what like the general understanding of DragonFae is, right? Like she has like a fairy mother and she's the human father, but like she manifests her form as like half snake with wings, which is giving mermaid, but she's technically a fairy, but she looks like a dragon. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why we recommend you start there if you're unsure of really how to get started with studying DragonFae. So, to better understand the essence of the DragonFae, study Atlantis and Lemuria and water-ruled kingdoms. Okay, so this is really important, and I can't even tell you why in this video. I'm not ready yet, okay? But please study Atlantis and please study Lemuria and please be aware of not connecting it to aliens. Keep the aliens out of my DragonFae! Okay, anyway. Next we have, do not use iron with the DragonFae, as according to fairy myths, this is offensive to Fae, so we apply it to the DragonFae as well, generally speaking in like DragonFae Witchcraft. So very straightforward. If you see something in like mythology that you shouldn't do with like mermaids, or you shouldn't do with dragons, or you shouldn't do with fairies, good general logic states that you shouldn't do it with DragonFae too. I don't know, it's common sense, but some people don't agree. Anyway, we have next, to create DragonFae egregores, use a 7-pointed star and place one type of mythical creature on each star point, then spin the star or thyself to forge the DragonFae egregore. And that is just a personal tip for how I make DragonFae egregores in my practice of DragonFae Witchcraft, but I know not everybody makes egregores, so that's just why it's like a little tipsy here, okay? Next we have DragonFae are like crystalline rainbow light meets the rainfall and thunderstorms. Very vivid, creative language. I find it very difficult to describe the DragonFae simply because of their very abstract, mysterious, and full spectrum nature, if that makes sense. But next we have DragonFae are the hidden glue for mythical creatures. And all that means is like where the fairy kind of starts to look like a dragon, or where the phoenix kind of starts to look like a chimera. That is where the DragonFae live, at least in my personal understanding, right? That is considered like my personal gnosis, just so you're aware. And lastly, we have, oh, wow. This is a warning, by the way. I can't read my writing. Warning number 1. Warning number 2. This path is nearly entirely a UPG craft. And all that means is it's an unverified personal gnosis practice, meaning that there is no DragonFae history outside of layering dragon myths on like fairy myths, on like mermaid myths, on phoenix myths, on unicorn myths, on griffin myths, on chimera myths. I could keep going. Right. But that's it. That's all I have for you for today's video. I'm super excited that I was finally able to share this exciting episode with you guys. DragonFae Witchcraft is such a huge part of my life and is very intimately tied with me, like remembering my lineage as a Welsh witch. If you didn't know, I come from a line of Welsh witches, and if you didn't know, the flag for Wales is literally a dragon. Therefore, I come from like the dragon witch energy. Oh my gosh, when my dad told me that, I simply passed away. But I will say that my practice of DragonFae Witchcraft and DragonFae Alchemy and like all of the like branches of DragonFae practices I do is directly a reconstructional like craft of like my lineage, right? Because I don't really have much to go off of besides a couple like notes. So that's it, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure to join the Hatchling Clan Discord server if you haven't already to get all your free goodies, to check out all of the extra free resources that come along with this video. If you want to learn more about DragonFae Witchcraft, I have free resources for you still available, linked down below. And if you're new here, assalamu alaikum, merry meet, and welcome back to your daily dose of DragonFaether. My name is Azura DragonFaether, the Draconic Priestess, and I've been working with dragons since the 90s, developing these systems over my lifetime, here to now finally share them with you to enjoy. They're not mine anymore. Please take them and make them yours. This is how I understand dragons, and I would be lost without it. So I just want to share that with you guys here on my channel. And I will be seeing you guys very, very soon for our next system. Don't forget to check the cards to see the systems you missed. But until next time, stay chicken every day, little hatchlings. Gaddafi's blessed be and Amin. Please follow me so I don't get lost.
We'll see you back next time for your DDLDF, and like, comment, subscribe for your DDLDF. And if you didn't get enough, make sure to check down below to see what I'm up to and be in the know. So stay geeky and cheeky and freaky, little hatchlings.